Hey everyone, it's Sierra. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my Q&A video, and I know it's been a while. I think I posted this like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then I went on vacation and blah blah blah, and I have not had time to film anything. So but I'm really excited to film this because I love Q&As, and I recently reached 1,000 followers on Instagram, and so I thought kind of this would be a good way for any of my new subscribers or followers to get to know me. So there were quite a few questions, so I'm just gonna jump right in. The first two from YouTube, already lost them. The Luxury Hybrid asks, when and why did you become a luxury handbag collector / lover? So I've always loved handbags, I think, and I had a really hard time kind of diving in because, quite honestly, just because of the price. And when I bought my first like really expensive handbag, I think I mentioned this in another video, it was a Gwen Stefani lamb bag, and this was a long time ago, maybe almost like 10 years ago. Maybe that's too long, but anyways, it was a long time ago, and it was, I believe, $400 or $500, and if you opened up a Saks card, you got a discount, and then somehow we got another discount. So it came down to like under $200, and at that time that was the most expensive bag I had ever owned. But I loved that bag. I felt so fancy and so special every time I used it, which was every single day for like 2 years, because I just loved that bag. I rocked it so hard. And that's really what started it. And then I kind of kept like, you know, taking the neck sleep, and so then I would get like Tory Burch, which was a little more expensive, and then finally last year I got my first Louis Vuitton, and I have not been able to stop ever since. Next question is from Beyond Paradise, and she asks, is it bad to use 2 different kinds of or brands of facial cleansers at the same time? I've been using Dermalogica Special Cleansing Gel, great cleanser, for 3 to 4 months, in the Active Moist. I ran out of the Active Moist lotion, and she's been wanting to use Kiehl's for a while. Kiehl's is also a great brand. So she's just wondering if you can use Kiehl's and Dermalogica or like any different products. And the answer is yes, you absolutely can. You have to find what works best for your skin, and that may be a wide variety of different products. I use like all kinds of different products, but I just like to like test different ones and see what works and what doesn't, and that's just kind of like a hobby of mine. I think that sometimes certain product lines are designed to work together, and I think that the reason that a lot of times people say you should buy one specific line is because it sounds like you know what you're doing with your skin, because you mentioned that they're both for oily skin. So, but some people who are newer to skincare products don't really know the difference between a moisturizer and a hydrating product, for example, or, you know, a serum. They may not realize that they actually don't have dry skin, they just have dehydrated skin, and they're choosing the wrong products. So if you are new to skincare, I think it is good to just choose one line and all the products that kind of are for acne or dry skin or whatever. And then once you kind of start to learn what works better for you and what your skin type is, then you can branch out into whatever you want. So absolutely, you can use whatever you want. Okay, now on to Instagram, and the first is from Snape HPB. She says, congrats on 1,000, thank you. My questions are, what do you do to de-stress? Favorite hobbies besides beauty and bags? And what is one thing you would like to do before you're 40? So I'm gonna take the de-stress question, and I'm gonna do a whole nother video on that because someone else asked that as well, and I have a lot on that topic. So next is favorite hobby besides beauty and bags. So I actually am kind of a crafty person. I'm not very good at it, but I really enjoy it. So before I got pregnant with my daughter, I did a lot of cross stitching, and I really, really loved that. For a while, basically, if you were like a family or friend, family member or friend, you were getting a cross stitch for Christmas. It was like one of those things. So I really like doing crafts. I have a silhouette. I used to do a lot of paper crafts. I don't really do scrapbooking. It's just not for me. What else? I love planning. That's kind of what I'm into right now. Not like the typical planning with like washi tape and, you know, that kind of jazz. That's just not for me. But I recently kind of dove headfirst into the bullet journaling world, and I am really obsessed with that. So like the last week I've just been doing the bullet journaling, and it's super, super fun. So those are my hobbies, kind of just like crafty things. I like them because they just take your mind off of, you know, the world. You have to like fully focus in on what you're doing, and I think that that's really good for my stress levels. So that kind of actually answers your first question. And then, what is one thing you'd like to do before you're 40? That is a good question. I don't know. I think I've done a lot of what I wanted to do in my life, and that is to own a home in Santa Barbara, to have a happy family, which I have. Yeah, I think the only thing would be maybe to buy a bigger house, but I don't know if realistically I would do that before I'm 40. So I'm gonna say that I would really like to find a happy and healthy weight for myself, because that's something that's really been bothering me lately, and I'm going to talk about this in another video as well, but I have kind of finally realized that like the number on the scale is not what matters to me. What matters to me is that I am healthy and that I'm happy. And so that's something that I'm really going to be striving for in the next few years. So hopefully I can find that place before I'm 40, because that's going to really suck if I can't, because then that'll mean I've spent like half of my life trying to find that out and failing miserably. So next question is from me and Mr. Vuitton, and she says, congrats on 1,000, my friend. Thank you. And she says, here's my question. Where's the one place you'd like to visit that you've never been? So there's a lot, because I haven't really traveled a ton, and I think that the current top place would be Thailand. And the only reason is because years and years ago now, gosh, it's been a while, 3 or 4 years ago maybe, my husband and I wanted to go to Thailand, and I really wanted to do like a big, huge adventure before we had another baby. And I ended up getting laid off from my job, and then we found out we had to do IVF, and just money-wise, it was just not possible to do that. And now we have another baby, and I wouldn't trade any of that for the world, but Thailand pretty much just never happened. And so it's still like a big trip that I really want to take. And I think the reason I want to go there is because it's just, I've never been anywhere like that. You know, I've been to Latin America, Central America, a little bit in Europe. And, you know, of course, like everywhere within those areas is very different. But I think going to like an entirely different continent like Asia would just be such a cool experience. And that's what I like about travel, is that I get really uncomfortable when I get put out of my comfort zone, but I think that's what's so important about travel, is like kind of making yourself a little bit uncomfortable, you know, so that when you come back home, you appreciate so much more what you have, and you've learned about the world and what it's like to be another person in this world, because I feel like that is the number one issue with all of the problems in the world today, is the lack of empathy and the lack of understanding of what it's like to be someone who lives in a different country. So I'm not going to go off on a political tangent, because believe me, I could, but I really want to go to Thailand because I think it's beautiful and exotic, and I think it would push me out of my comfort zone, and I would come back a better person and have a really amazing experience. So next question is from Becky Lou 77. What are your thoughts on natural skincare and beauty products, and have you found any you like? I think that they're great. I think that there's a lot of brands out there that are kind of moving towards that more, and I think like Corez, Fresh, there's a lot at Sephora these days that are like, you know, no parabens. They're trying to have more natural ingredients. And then there are some other brands that are, you know, not in Sephora and Ulta, you know, kind of more under the radar, and smaller brands that are like vegan and, you know, cruelty-free. And I know that Becky, you have featured some of those on your YouTube channel, and she has a great channel, by the way. So I think that they're great. I have not found a ton of like the lower end products that I like a lot. I'm not going to name any names because I I try not to be super negative about products I don't like, but some of them that I've tried have had like an odor that I didn't like. Some of them didn't last as long as I would have wanted, so I haven't found any like smaller brand names. But I do love like Corez as an entire brand. I love all of their products. Fresh is really good as well, as I mentioned. I think Boscia is a little more natural as well. I think they have like no parabens and things like that. So there are some brands from Sephora that I like that are more on the natural side. But on the flip side, I have also started to use things like Retin-A and products that are kind of more like pharmacy grade, medical grade, and so I kind of mix and match things because I do like to be more natural, but I also do like things that like really pack a punch. And I think while there are some natural things with, you know, enzymes and lactic acid that can really help your skin, at the end of the day, there's nothing as strong as Retin-A, and I've really been liking Retin-A. So but I think there's a lot of good things out there. I think it just takes some looking. So next question is from Wendy S. at the Loving 50. What's your favorite movie, song, flower, food, and book? Ooh, this is a fun one. Okay, favorite movie, hands down, it will always be this, is It's a Wonderful Life. I love this movie so much that I almost named my children George Bailey. I wanted to name one of my girls Bailey and use George as a middle name for a boy, but I didn't do either one. But I just think it's the most beautiful movie. Just the way it was filmed, Frank Capra as the director, the actors, Jimmy Stewart and Donna Reed, were just amazing. The message behind it, everything, it was just a fantastic movie. So even if you don't like black and white movies, I think that you should see it if you've never watched it. And if you've never watched it, please watch it. Please, please, please. It's like the best movie ever made. Favorite song. I have a lot of favorite songs, and it kind of just rotates depending on my mood, but I think one of my all-time favorite songs, and one that I just like wrote out a quote in my bullet journal, is Dear Prudence by the Beatles. And I love that song. That song will almost always make me happy no matter what my mood is. And the lyric from the song that I love is, the sun is up, the sky is blue, it's beautiful, and so are you. And I just think that that's such a good sentiment to live by, and I kind of always remind myself of that. Favorite flower is hands down a daffodil, and that is because where I grew up every spring, there was a huge hill behind my house, and it would just go crazy with wild daffodils, and my little brother and I would just come in with daffodils like by the armloads and put them in our house. And we didn't have a very big house, and so just the smell of the fresh daffodils would completely take over the house, and it just smelled fresh and like springtime. And it just, no matter what, when I see a daffodil, just the bright yellow color, or when I smell it, it just makes me smile. Favorite food. Whew, this is maybe a tie between sushi and burritos, but I am a lover of food, and so again, that really kind of changes on my mood, but I think with Mexican food and sushi, you just can't really go wrong. And favorite book. I have a few. I think that let's see, off the top of my head, the three that are just instantly popping into my head are The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, which I think was mercilessly slaughtered by the movie that came out, and I can't even watch the movie because it makes me so angry. I just loved that book. I think that it just goes into female friendships and mother-daughter relationships, and I just think that it captures it so beautifully, both the good and the bad. And that's also where I first heard my daughter's name, Tallulah. That book came out like 10 to 15 years ago, so ever since then, that was my favorite girl name. So it's kind of special that I now have a daughter named that. And the next book would be Bridget Jones' Diary, because Bridget Jones is just so fabulous. I always wanted to be Bridget Jones, and when I studied abroad in England for a summer, I actually kind of pretended I was Bridget Jones. So, and then the third one would be Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I was just talking to my best friend about this actually, because she did not like that book because she just could not identify with her at all and thought that she was kind of like stuck on herself kind of in a way, which I can totally see. And it's odd that I identified with her so much, being not a successful woman living in New York who got divorced, but for some reason when I read that book, I so completely could identify with her just on a different level. And I just thought that the journey that she went through that year was so incredibly beautiful, and I really kind of could identify with that. So I think those three books are my top favorite books for different reasons. Okay, I was trying to go fast and I'm talking so much, so I'm going to try and speed it up. Lady Loves LV says, my questions: what are some things you enjoy doing for yourself if you ever get any me time? Manis, petties, facials, yoga, doing massage, reading, lunch with a friend, or maybe long baths. Let us know. So this kind of ties into the question from Sam, and I'm going to do a separate video on this, but basically like everything you listed is fun and I like to do for myself. The problem is I don't really get time for myself. Like right now, my husband just took the kids to my in-laws pool for a few hours and I'm doing videos, which I guess is like what I do with my me time. It's super fun and I love it, but it's not relaxing. Like after I've done some videos, I'm usually like so hyped up. Like it's almost like I've had like several shots of espresso. And I think that's because I'm normally a very quiet, introverted person. And so for me to be like chatty and silly like on camera, it's like I don't know, it just like makes me have this like crazy energy. So it's awesome. I'm not saying I don't love it, but it's not like relaxing, if that makes any sense at all. So, but anyways, I'll go into more detail when I do a video on like how I de-stress and deal with anxiety and whatnot. Let's see. Oh, then Lady Loves LV says, whoops, thought of something important I wanted to ask. Well, that was important. But she says, how and what do you use to clean your makeup brushes? I want something non-toxic and on the natural side. So, you can really use anything to clean your makeup brushes that's gentle. So you can use like baby shampoo. You can use your hand soap as long as it's not antibacterial. Anything that's like antibacterial or anything like a dish soap that you know is for like cleaning pots and pans, those you want to stay away from because those are a little bit harsher. But any soap, like hand soap or even shampoo that's on the natural side, is totally fine to wash your brushes with. Because if you think about it, you know, if you have like a natural shampoo or a baby shampoo, those are so gentle. You know, baby shampoos are meant to not bring tears to baby's eyes. So those are more than gentle enough to wash your makeup brushes. And they're pretty natural, especially if you get like, you know, Honest Company baby shampoo or Aveeno or Burt's Bees. Those are all kind of more natural shampoos and bath gels and things. I have this little container with like a hard soap from Beauty Blender, and that's what I've been using, and I really like that, and I don't feel like it's like really chemically or anything. And it also comes with this little silicone thing on the top with like some bumps on it, so you just rub the brushes on it and it helps you clean them. So that's what I've been liking, but before that I just used like baby shampoo. Let's see. Handbags with Heather says, what does your husband think of your collection? He, you know, I'll just be totally honest. He doesn't love it. And that's because I'll just be super totally honest. I've spent a little more money than I should have in the last few months, and he's not super crazy about that. And rightfully so, you know, like I love to shop, and sometimes, you know, we shop a little bit more than we should. And so I am getting a couple new handbags that a friend is getting for me, and you guys will hear about that more in maybe a month or so. But after that, no more. Unless I sell something for equal value, then maybe. But no more. No more makeup, no more handbags, no more. I really am going to try and like do a no spending month for myself. And so I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. Oh God, we're at 20 minutes already. So he's not crazy about it because it costs so much money, basically. He loves that I have found something that I am passionate about. He loves that I do YouTube videos. Like that he has zero problem with. It's just the fact that I'm spending a little bit more money than I really should right now that he's not super crazy about, and rightfully so, you know, let's be honest. So Even the City asks, my question is, do you have any skincare tips for redness or rosacea? I don't, and only because it's something that's like kind of tricky to treat. So as far as like covering it up with makeup, any sort of green color corrector will really help with that. I know that there are also even some like red moisturizers, or no, not red, green tinted moisturizers. So you put that on and then you put on your foundation. Or I mean, there was like a recent color corrector kind of craze, so you could definitely find anything that's green. So basically the reason that you want to find green is when you're trying to do color correcting, you want to use what's the opposite on the color wheel. So for red, green is the opposite on the color wheel. So green will kind of cancel out the redness. So anything that you can find that's green, that will help with redness as far as just the appearance of redness. As far as treating rosacea, that's a really difficult thing to treat. It doesn't mean it's impossible, and it doesn't mean that it's like worrisome. It's just that typically over-the-counter products are kind of not as strong as you need. So for that, I would probably go see a dermatologist. They have a lot of prescription gels they can give you, and that really is going to help you the most. Okay, Elsbeth Kennens asks, any decisions made about saving up for the Chanel Jumbo? Yes. I think I mentioned this kind of briefly in another video, I can't remember, but I basically decided not to save up right now. And the main reason for that, besides the fact what I just said, that I just have spent way too much on handbags lately, is that I really don't feel that a Chanel Jumbo is the right bag for my lifestyle. I think it's one of those things where it's like beautiful and it's like I want it, and I'm sure I would find the occasion to wear it if I had it. I just don't think that it would be enough to warrant the price tag of it. So I'm not saving for it right now because it's just not going to be functional for me, and for the price it's just not something that I need in my life, I don't think. I would like a flap bag. I would like a Chanel bag. I would also like a crossbody bag. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm not sure if I might, you know, go the Chanel Walk or Chanel blah, 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 Chanel Mini. I want some Chanel. I really do. I don't know. I need to think about it some more. That's what I need to do, because I love Chanel. Every time I see someone getting Chanel, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like completely mesmerized by it. Anytime I see like a Chanel item that's someone selling, I'm like scheming, like how could I buy that? If I sold this, could I get that? And then I'm like, no, I don't need that in my life right now. I need the 2 bags that I am in the process of getting. And then the next bag that I will get will be a crossbody. And I don't think it would be a Chanel crossbody because I need it to be like a pretty durable throw around crossbody. So long answer to that question is I'm not saving up. I don't know when I will be saving up, and I don't even know if a Chanel Jumbo is my holy grail bag anymore. I think just a Chanel in general is my holy grail, but I don't have like a time frame on when I'm gonna get that, and I'm okay with that because I don't think that a holy grail bag means that I need to get it within the next 6 months or even a year. The price increases were freaking me out. They still do freak me out, but I think that I will definitely be going the pre-loved route. So yeah, I've kind of just, you know, come to peace with the fact that I'm probably not going to have Chanel for a while, and that's fine because I'm incredibly lucky to have the gorgeous bags that I already have. So I'm happy with that. Okay, next question is Sherry Jenkins Talbot. Congrats, love your channel. I feel like I know you. You know how to make someone laugh so awesome. That's the sweetest thing, thank you. I feel like I'm usually just like making myself crack up over here, so that's nice to hear, thank you. What is your favorite kind of music, favorite song, favorite movie, and most memorable moment in high school and college? So I kind of mentioned my favorite song and movie. What kind of music do I like? I like any kind of music, like literally any genre. There is at least a few songs that I like, whether it's country, classical. I think I mostly listen to pop, classic rock, and kind of like alternative rock, and rap, but I will listen to anything. I go through kind of phases, so like I've gone through some serious like Al Green, Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, like kind of old school R&B. I've gone through phases where I just listen to like Tori Amos and like, you know, like angsty female badass singers, kind of things like that. Then I go through like hardcore gangster rap where I just listen to Biggie Smalls and Tupac, like anything. And then recently, within the last few years, I like got knee deep into country, which growing up, I grew up in Northern California in an area where people liked country music, and I would always be like, ugh, country music, it's so stupid. Bleh. And I like love it now. I totally ate my words. So yeah, I pretty much will listen to anything. It just depends on my mood. And then most memorable moment in high school and in college. Memorable moments in high school, I think just my entire senior year. I think I'm one of the very few people who actually had a good time in high school. Not the entire time, but my senior year I think was one of the best years of my life. I just had so much fun. I had great friends, and yeah, so that entire year was just really fun. Most memorable moment of college, so I'm kind of opposite of a lot of people in that I did not have the best college experience. I think just growing up a small town girl in Northern California and coming down to Southern California, I'll never forget, I went to my first college party. I was wearing overalls and a white t-shirt and tennis shoes, and I went out and every girl was wearing, this was in like the late 90s, every girl was wearing like a short little dress and like the super high platform shoes, like their hair was done, they had makeup on, like it looked to me like they were going to prom, and I'm just like an overall like this little small town girl going to her first college party. And that's kind of how I felt for most of college, just like I just didn't really fit in. I had a great group of girlfriends and I had a great group of guy friends, and but I think probably the best memory that sticks out is hanging out with my husband, and the night that we finally, after 2 years, had our first kiss, and kind of I realized that I loved him. That was probably the best college moment. Let's see. So next question is from Real Nutcase 101. Do you think I'm pretty? I think you're beautiful. And what was the first luxury skincare product that you bought? So I think that depends on your definition of luxury. For me, luxury means anything that's like Sephora brand or higher, because to me that's like a lot of money. And so my first like luxury non-drugstore, I'm pretty sure was either Peter Thomas Roth or DDF, which is Doctor's Dermalogic Formula, and I bought them from the spa where I was getting facials. So like 15 years ago I was knee deep into facials. I got facials like every 6 weeks usually. I got microdermabrasion before my wedding. Like I was super into skincare, which is why I eventually went on to get my esthetician's license, because I just love facials and skincare products. So those were my first two luxury brands. As far as like luxury brands like Chanel, YSL, Tom Ford, like those type of brands, I think the first that I bought was, I don't actually know. maybe YSL? Yeah, I don't remember. I am definitely more of like just a Sephora brand girl. I've recently started getting kind of more into like YSL lip products. I just bought my first Chanel nail polishes, so I'm hoping I like those. But typically I just stick to like mid-range products, I feel like. So like not drugstore, but not like super, super high-end. I mean, really I do like everything from the whole gamut, from, you know, inexpensive drugstore to super expensive, but typically I kind of stick in the middle. Let's see, Andrea's World. What's your view on Botox? We all know it doesn't matter how much you spend on creams and potions, they don't remove wrinkles like Botox. And then she says in parentheses, 51-year-old grandmother considering it. So, I feel really good about Botox. I've never had an issue with any sort of plastic surgery or anything that you want to do. It's your face, it's your body, you do what you want to do. I do feel a little bit bad and uncomfortable for people that clearly have some sort of like body dysmorphic disorder and just get a little crazy with it. That like makes my heart hurt, and I just feel bad for those people, because yeah, that just hurts my heart for them. But as far as normal people just wanting to, you know, look a little bit younger, I feel really good about it. And if you had asked me even 5 years ago if I would consider it, I probably would have said, no, I'm gonna age gracefully, but you know, anyone who wants to do it can do it. And now I just turned 37 last week. 37-year-old mother of 2 children. I'm incredibly sleep deprived, and I'm just like, bring on the needles, because mama needs to get plugged up. So I don't think I'll be making the jump anytime soon, mainly because 1, money. 2, I kind of want to lose some weight, and I want to kind of change my diet, and I want to wait until I'm getting a full night of sleep, because I think all 3 of those things will drastically change the way that my face looks just naturally on its own. And so I kind of want to get to a good place where I'm feeling comfortable and healthy in my body before I start getting stuff like that done. So things that I am interested in, I want to get right here the 11s done. I want to get here the little marionettes, for sure. I want to get little eye fillers down here because I have like super dark circles and puffiness. What else do I want to get done? I would like to get my lips done, not like but just, I feel like it's crooked and I just want just a teeny bit. What else? I mean, if the sky is the limit, I'd also like to get Botox in my hands and feet because they sweat a lot. I'd like to have a breast reduction, and I would like to have hair restoration surgery. So I'd like to have my hairline come down a little farther and then in here to thicken it up a little bit. So yeah, I feel real good about plastic surgery. Whether or not I will do any of that is, you know, to be determined. Like, that's all, you know, wish list stuff. I don't know that I would actually do it, but I'm all for it. So you go get yourself some Botox, girl. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for these wonderful questions, and thank you for continuing to watch my channel. I love making these videos for you guys. It's super fun. So if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and like this video, and I've got more coming soon, so I will see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.